Hello, designers. This is Rebecca, and this is your assignment 3 in the studio critique. This is one of my favorite assignments to critique. I love seeing all the work you did. I know it was a lot of work, and I'm just really excited to go over everything. So, for the overview, you were to create designs for 2 types of music media from your genre's era. Everyone was to create a 12-inch vinyl LP, um, including the 4-panel cover with a lyric sheet insert and the round labels for both sides of your record. And then, depending on which genre you chose, for your second music media, you could choose either an 8-track, a 7-inch record single, a cassette tape, a CD, and that's it. And then you were to create a slideshow presentation with the versions for the printer that have the bleeds and crop marks, plus the versions that are trimmed that we would use on like social media and maybe designs for our t-shirts and other things like that. So, and plus some mock-ups. So let's go ahead and see what you turned in. All right, so first up is Najuan. All right, so here's our mock-up. Great, that's a nice mock-up. So the record is usually going to come out of this side, but I don't think that matters for the mock-up. Okay. Okay, so for this mock-up here, this part is correct. This is the front cover, and this is the back cover. So then you would take those inside 2 panels and you'd put them up here, but you would rotate them 180 degrees so they're upside down. And then this part needs to have the spine information. So the name of your band, the name of the album, and then it could even have a little icon from the record company's logo on there too. So that is what's missing from there. And then the bleed, notice like this hair could extend over here, like across this bleed if you wanted it to. It's not mandatory by any means, but just know that that's an option. Sorry, that was me. And then this is the trimmed versions. Great. So let's go ahead and talk about the design. So I think that the artwork is really nice, and I love the hand-drawn elements for sure. The experimentation with the text on a path is really nice over here too, as well. And so there are some things that are distracting from the hand-drawn elements that are making it feel a little more computer generated, and that's these drop shadows here. And while drop shadows are definitely okay to have, um, it's just that they're not really appearing anywhere else. And so the randomness of them just on the circles is making it feel like it's not, hand drawn. And then the other part would be like I don't recommend having a black stroke anywhere. So because like your text doesn't have any black strokes and it shouldn't. So if you would consider removing the black stroke, especially in the hair, and like let these colors vibrate off of each other, they're not going to do much vibrating if there is a black line dividing the colors. And then instead of the black stroke on your subject, use this dark tan color, along these skin areas here, or an even darker version of that color maybe. And then she could, for her eyelashes, there's no need to have a stroke there. No need to have a stroke on the eyebrows. For the lips, if you wanted to have some definition, you could make it a darker, a red color here, or you could even use, one of these dark colors in the hair, like that dark purple, or the purple of the background, something like that. Um, and yeah, so, and then the text is like growing and getting bigger as you get lower here. So I think you did that because you wanted to sort of create like a receding effect. And what it does is it creates like a some information hierarchy instead, because there's no distortion on the text of it like receding into the background. There is distortion of it waving through, but it seems like these three songs are more important to read first than these songs up here. So you can leave it the way it is, if you're okay with that. I just wanted to point it out to you that that's kind of how it's reading. And then we do need the band's name on the front of the album somewhere. So it doesn't need to be like this tiny little thing. It's okay to make it a large logo on the front cover somewhere. And I think like this is okay here, this bend, but this one is more like just like an elbow bend, as opposed to like a flow bend. So what you could do is you could turn your path into a straight line and then instead use the envelope distort and choose rise or wave. And I think that'll look a little flowier and they would like mimic the same path together. All right, this part looks great though. And then we don't need the band's logo on the back of the cover. We do need the record company logo on the back though. Great. All right. So then we go from this punchy magenta gradient, it's like magenta to a nice rich blue, to what starts getting a little muddy here. I don't know if it's because this color, this purple here, see how your color palette shifted? I'd say keep the same color palette. These colors are totally different. I don't know what happened there. This looks good, like this kept the same color palette. So I don't know if you put like another layer over it of a different color and it like muted everything. I'm not sure what happened there, but oh, maybe it's just the way that it exported. Is this the same thing? Hold on. Okay, I'm not sure why these are two different images, so that's why I'm confused. So two completely different images. Okay, all right, but this one is better, the trimmed version, because the color palette stayed the same. Um, and once again, I recommend getting rid of the black stroke. Also, never mind. I was going to say the stars usually aren't in front of things, you know what I mean? Like they're in the background, but I don't know if it needs to be in the background. So that's why I said never mind. All right. Then on this part, so generally I don't recommend centering lyrics in columns. I don't recommend centering anything in columns. Um, and as a rule of formatting, for a graphic designer, the rule is you never center any paragraphs that are longer than 4 lines. So you want to either left align or right align or justify that text. These it wouldn't make sense to justify these because they're like a stanza. So left align is the best way to line these up, unless you break everything into 4 lines like these ones here. Okay, then you can leave them centered. And what I really like about this is that you played with color in your headers. You made it a different color than your body copy, and that your font is nice and big in your header. The font pairing is really nice. It's great. It's great. I think Euphoria needs to be capitalized. Another universe needs to be capitalized. I'm not sure why some of these are all caps and some are not. Million needs to be capitalized. Okay. Okay, great. Sorry, I'm just looking. All right, so this dotted line here, I believe, is representing the trim line. So if you were to trim this, so let me try that one more time here. If you were to trim this, I want you to notice the space here between this star point and the edge. And then if I go to my next slide, that is still the same as it is here. So it really doesn't make a difference if you're just removing the dotted line. That's not what bleeds are all about. Bleeds are extending the background past the trim line so that when you do slice the paper, there's no accidental white gap there from where the ink did not get far enough over to the side, or where the blade accidentally trimmed too far to the side. So like right here, this is what the white line would look like down this side. So make sure when you turn in your final assignment that you trim this where those trim lines actually fall, like that. Okay, and you get rid of the bleed section. Great. All right, and then this one also, this area outside the dotted line is the bleed area. So when you turn this in, you're going to trim it along this dotted line. I'm just looking to see if that's, can't really tell. Okay, and I see that there is a shift in the color, so that has to do with how the PDF exported, so that's okay. Good. This is good. So just be sure to also include the logo for the record company that produced the album, okay? So you've got your band logo, you've got the title, and everything else looks very good. So just be sure to include that record company logo, okay? Great. All right, and so the second music medium was a 7-inch record. That's good. On your mock-up, make sure you include the graphics for the label too, okay? All right, let's look at this. Good. So a 7-inch, I think still has a spine. So you want to include your name of your album and, no, maybe it doesn't have a spine. It might be too thin. Okay, never mind. But this is cool. This artwork in here is really interesting. It's like so cool. Um, we still are having black strokes everywhere. So I do recommend getting rid of those black strokes. They do help, the texture that you added to the black stroke does make it look hand drawn. Um, so, but I think when you get rid of it, maybe that vector, if you color the black stroke the same color as the fill behind it, then you'll still be able to see the texture against the color next to it. Um, then with this one, this picture in here is so interesting. I wish it was larger. You know what I mean? It's like the most interesting part is like very tiny. That's okay. All right. And yeah, I recommend getting rid of the drop shadow behind there again. I'm not crazy about this font at all. I just don't think it really goes um, with the genre. You know, it's a little more Comic Sans than psychedelic, so I do recommend switching that out for something different. All right, and we need to have the record label on the back, record company label. Great. And then if you don't break these up into 4 groups of 4 lines, then go ahead and left align them. Um, or, you could mimic the layout that you have here over here. That'll make a little bit more sense. All right, same thing goes with the crop on this one. See, notice that if I was to crop this at this dotted line, that circle would get shaved off on the edges there, but here we still see the whole thing. So you got to crop it at the trim line for your final presentation. Good. So I'm glad to see that you do have a design for this layout. Um, there's still songs on each side of this CD, or I'm sorry, each side of this record. So I do recommend writing oh, you did, Elite? Okay, I'm fine. You're good to go. Just make sure you put the record company logo on there too. Great. Okay. And then let me just look at something here. So I think it is nice that you played with changing the font colors. Um, this one, on this side, notice like you have a whole word in a color, but on this side, you change each color of the letter. So, and I'm also confused as to like why one is called the other. So this seems like this is the single for Glitch in a Vision, and then maybe like the B side is My Euphoria. I think that's what you had on your record labels. So over here, instead of having just the one listed, I do recommend listing both songs. Okay. All right, great. All right, so after reading your reflection, it definitely does feel like fantasy and dreamlike, and um, airy. You know what I mean? Uh, this this whole project, like the entire semester, is not at all about incorporating anything modern. So I just want you to kind of stop pressuring yourself to meld psychedelic and modern, because that's not at all the goal here. The goal is psychedelic, period. So I just want you to like not have this modern meets psychedelic thing be an obstacle, because I want it to be, I want it to look so psychedelic that people think it was actually made in the 60s, that they don't think that you are trying to make something modern and sprinkle in some psychedelia. So with that said, the uh, you mentioned like infinite space to create, whatever you wanted, which I think is great. That you felt like you had like tons of freedom. Um, one thing is, if it was like too much space to have to come up with illustrations and designs, because there is like a lot of negative space here where you're just filling things in with similar elements from the cover, which is good. Like we do want to have those elements repeated throughout the artwork. You could use photos of your band, instead of just 100% illustrations. It's not a requirement. I'm just like giving you an option for that, uh, that you could put those photos into Photoshop and you could do it nice, do a tone effect or something like that using your color palette, and so that it's all still feels cohesive. But that's only if you want to. It's not a requirement. Okay. And then, but I do commend you on like keeping your color palette consistent throughout. I do recommend changing this font out. It's just not really appropriate for the genre, but this font is really great. Um, really great choice there. All right, thanks so much. Next up is Aribert. Cool. Nice mock-up. That's an awesome mock-up. Very nice. All right, great. So I'm just a little bit confused about. Okay, I see it now. I was confused about the template because I can't see any of the lines from the template. I see these little crop marks down here and registration marks, but usually I can see like the trim line and the uh, margin line, all that good stuff. So, okay, great. Awesome. So I love this image with the chain going across the whole spread, and this background, looking really nice. Oh, I see the red lines from the um, template here, just a heads up. And then this looks great here. Your spine looks excellent. I'm happy to see the record company label. This all looks good down here. Really nice. Looks awesome. Really good stuff. Yeah, I love her overlapping the background there. It's really good. Great font choices as well. That's nice. It's really similar to like the Michael Jackson, the Thriller insert where he's like holding a baby tiger and laying down. Right. Great. I wonder if there's more image. Is there not more image that you could scooch over a little bit? If not, it's okay. Great. All right. Excellent. Okay. Yes, I see the template this time. All right, cool. So let me look at this up close. I just have to look for some orphans and widows. All right. So the only one I see is, oh, no, it's intentional. It's capitalized. So we're good to go. There's another one. Okay, great. We're great. One last pass with my eyes. Okay, looks really good. So the font pairing looks great again, and I appreciate that you played with your headers being, you know, a thicker, bolder, bigger font that's even a different color than just black. So thank you so much. I think that's great. Really good. Looks great. All right. Yeah, this looks really good too. Excellent. All right, and the trimmed version. Okay, so on this template, um, this blue line here is actually the bleed line, and then there is like another line in here. That's the trim line, that second line in. So you may need to reduce this font size. Um, you might not have to. It might still have enough room down here that you can keep it the same size, but just make your circle a little smaller so that you have a margin if you wanted it. But this is actually like, you know, more than half of this pink is going to get trimmed off. So for your final, just trim it so that it is on the trim line, not the bleed line. But everything else is fantastic and good to go. And we made a CD. Great. All right. These mock-ups are awesome. Okay. That's cool. New font. And I like it. It's working. So with the CD, you're also going to have a spine. It might not be on this part, but I don't see it. Oh, here it is. Great. Okay, perfect. Cool. Yes. And on that side. Excellent. Great. Oh, I like the chain on the, this is really nice. Excellent. Great. Okay, so you got the trim right on that one, so that's good. Excellent. So I love this concept a lot about, the chain and the leopard. I think it's really great. Something that I was thinking is that you could place this paragraph, since it's the same album, it's just, different mediums right here, since you have that negative space and it doesn't show up anywhere else, in this album or in this version. And maybe you meant to and just didn't get time for it, but I think that would be a good spot for it. And then I noticed that there's no lyric insert for the CDs, so or inside the gatefold. I'm sorry, not gatefold. Uh, so this is the front cover. Hold on, now I'm confusing myself. Oh, this is okay. I got it. This is an insert. Wait. Okay. Okay. So we got it. Okay. Let me just explain. So, the inside, we have our leopard here, and this chain would continue down onto this inside panel. So when you took the CD out, it would be this picture, okay? That's what it looks like you have here. But now this is your cover, two panel insert front and back. So you would maybe get rid of your title, you know what I mean? I don't see the back. Okay, it was like a separate thing. Got it. Okay. Okay. I got it figured out now. So this is the back panel. We would also have a front cover panel that appears to be separate. Oh, okay. That's why. Got it. Okay, so if this was to fold this way and she was to be here, this leopard and chain in your here would be facing the other direction. The chain would be coming this way. So I think you need to switch these two. That doesn't make sense. I'm having my brain is like exploding right now. Yes. So I am right as far as go back to this. All right, your fold would be on this side. And so that means the chain, this is correct, but when you open it, the chain would come across this way. The leopard would be here. It's like backwards, you know what I mean? Okay. Then usually you can take this part, you can slide this part out and open it up, and then you'd have two panels on the inside that would have the lyrics in there. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. So anyway, back to your reflections. I love the concept. I think it does look super um, 80s new wave, and I definitely see the influences of like Blondie, um, even like Human League, you know, because they like to use a lot of the future of text all spread out with a wide tracking, and I really love that. I think that the script or like handwritten font looks great with the Futura. Um, Magenta is my favorite color, and Futura is my favorite font. So there you go. All right, great job. Thank you. All right, next up is Jonathan. Excellent. Good looking mock-ups. So in this mock-up, since we have like a lot of negative space for your final and for your portfolio that you create, you know, your personal website portfolio, you can just crop right in. Then that image can be as big as possible so we can see all the details of your work, okay? Great. All right. So, okay, I see the template. Good. And the spine looks great. Great. Okay. Um, Next time you uh, pull the images for your slideshow, I don't know if you did screenshots or what, but they're really low res and like really pixelated and they're getting a bit blurry. So if you could just export those as PNGs so they're a little higher resolution, that would be really great. Because see, you can see it's like they're like JPEGs or GIFs or something. There's a lot of breakdown in the pixels around the text and in the shadows around each figure there. So just make them higher resolution for me. But this is great. The image turned out fantastic. I think the layout is good. I'm not sure about this color palette right yet. Let me keep going and see what else you did, okay? This is nice and this looks good. I think you're good to go there. So yeah, GA is the, okay, good. And the spine looks really great. So good job there. I like that drop shadow next to the spine. Good. Great. Great. Let me go back to the cover real fast. Okay. All right. Looks good. Okay. And then here are your, good. Thank you for rotating for me. I appreciate that. So I'm just looking at this for a few things. It looks good. Okay, everything's good. Oh, I see one. Okay, so what I was looking for are called orphans. It's when you have one or two words that altogether, including spaces and punctuation, you have seven or less characters on a line at the end of a paragraph. So you have that right here, even though it doesn't look like it's at the end of a paragraph, it is at the end of like a stanza line. So there's two ways to fix that. You can either place your cursor before the last word on the line above it and hold down shift and hit return. That's called a hard return. And what that does is it forces the word to jump down onto the line below without creating a big space like a brand new paragraph, okay? Which was what would happen if you just hit return by itself. So that's one way, is to drop that last word down with the word below it. Or you can select the whole line from the first word to the last word that's on the next line. Uh, and then with it highlighted, you can adjust your tracking in negative increments, like 5 increments at a time. So try -5 and see if the word jumps back, or we call it a run back, runs back to the line above it. Then if that doesn't work, try -10, then -15. If one of those works, then just stop there. But you can go up to -25. And if it doesn't work at -25, then change it all back to 0 tracking and then do the hard return instead. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't recommend going past -25 because the text gets too squished together. Okay. It gets really hard to read. Um, the only other thing, okay, so this right here is called a widow. I know these terms are terrible. A widow is when you have one line of a paragraph that is by itself, either at the beginning or the end of a column or a page. So this line is supposed to be part of this paragraph, but it's all by itself down here. So to fix that, we would want to have this line either jump back with it and be below it, or you'd want to hit return and have it jump up above it. But I see that you're having like a nice, you know, pretty stable baseline alignment there. Let me see if there's anywhere else that could change that so that you don't have it. I don't see it. So the only other thing would be maybe reducing the padding around this image, but I don't want you to do that. So for now, just leave it as is. I think it's okay. I think it's fine, but know that they exist. Okay, now, great, good. So your trim line is this black line here. Okay, so this line out here is your bleed, and then this black line here is your trim. And then this circle here is also trimmed. So on this version, you would have to trim this part off right outside of that white stroke that you have there, and then you would have a hole punched in the middle. That would be your trimmed version, where all the excess is trimmed off and you only have the sticker that's going to be applied to the product, okay? But everything else looks great. You have all the info on there that we need, and it's all laid out really nicely. And I love the texture that you have on here. It's really pretty. It's like a leathery texture. Looks nice. So I'm looking at your color palette, and I am not seeing anything like this here. I do see, you have the blue in his shirt, and you have this red, but no pink. And then you have some yellow, like in the gold of his necklace, but you're using this. Well, never mind. That doesn't count because that's the record label company. Let me just look a little bit more. Yeah, like there's some predominant red. There is this orange on here, but really like not the pink and not the buttery yellow. So I think instead just sample this blue and have it all be that blue, or sample the red and have it all be the red. I don't think that those sort of pastelish palette is working with the rest of this super warm palette. You know what I mean? Okay, great. But the font pairing here looks really nice too. It's laid out really beautifully. And I like these images in the middle. I think could you switch up that image? I don't know. Like maybe crop into this and crop into this or something. I don't know. Because that image is already on the back, right? Yeah. Okay. Then you chose to do a 7-inch. Oh no, here's the mock-up. Okay, got it. Sorry. Great. Okay. So here's a CD. Okay. Here's their CD. So any changes that you make to the art on the album cover, make here too. This is good to go. Looks great. Good mock-up too. Yeah, looks good. 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 Spine looks good. Great. Good. So if you do fix begin over here, then, on the album cover, then fix it here too. So this one is going to be a larger circle in the middle that gets cut out. So just check your template. You may need to adjust the spacing, I think would do it. If you just reduced your line spacing, you'll probably have enough to trim. Yeah, might have to reduce this space as well or nudge the true up as well. And then so for your trimmed one, you're gonna trim the edge and cut out that middle circle, okay? Great. I agree. I think it turned out fantastic. I love the textures. I love the warm color palette. I think if you're going to choose a color that's the pop of color, I think that blue is going to be the best because it's a really nice contrast with the warmth of the background. Um, while the red is punchy, I think the blue is going to be a nice contrast. And then, but either one's going to look good. And I agree. I can also kind of hear the music of the band, and I think it's really fun. The I'm so sorry to hear about Photoshop. I hate when Adobe products act up on me. I go crazy. So I definitely feel your pain. And just when that happens, I recommend like shutting down everything else, even like your browser, if you can, anything that's running, and then just having Photoshop run, only working on like one file at a time, not having other Photoshop files open, and then just hoping and praying. No, I'm just joking. All right. Well, you did a great job. Thank you so much. All right. Next up is Anna. Wow. Really cool. I like the clear vinyl. That's neat. Clear colored vinyl. Way cool. That's a lovely mock-up. Great. All right, looks good with the trim. Well, okay. So we really want to pull even this background illustration up to the bleed. So these flowers are all the way out. Like I'm glad to see the background texture made it, but I also recommend like all of these flowers making it as well. Okay, so when you're designing those, well, it looks like you kind of just were able to create a pattern. So that's good. Okay, I was going to say when you're designing them, you want like if you're drawing them in another program, you want to make sure that instead of it being 12 by 12, it's like 12 and a half or 13 by 13. You know what I mean? So that you have that extra space to make sure that it does go all the way out to the bleeds, okay? But as far as the design goes, it is beautiful. I love the texture, like in these uh, everywhere. I mean, the little extra details, like this extra stroke around here, is really lovely. The tracking on this font is really pretty. We've got our little logo down here, which looks really great. Of course, your illustration is incredible. I love all the details in the illustration, like her zipper, and this tear and like this flower going over her is just, it's really cool. Ear getting ripped out. Gross. I love it. And the color palette's gorgeous. It's really pretty. Um, of course, this head is really nice. And then like your little hole punches around the edge of this card is really pretty. Um, nice font choices. All the texture in here, these like water droplets are lovely. I love all the motion of like this air coming out. It's really cool. It's great. Really nice. Beautiful. Awesome. Really nice. This path, type on a path is really lovely. I love these like, and the sheep, oh my God, so many details. The texture in the background is just so pretty, even in the water. And there's like all these little stars and stuff. It's so cool. It looks really good. Good. So, I mean, I see the illustration extending here. That's good. We want to get it all the way to the blue. You don't have to redo it because for your final, you don't show me any of the versions with the bleeds. You're just going to show me these trimmed versions. I just want you to know that in the future, if you were to submit something like this to a printer, they would want that all the way out to the edges, every layer like that. Okay, good. That's pretty. Really nice. All right, great. Ooh, this cool little features in the corners here are really pretty. Okay, so I'm going to take a deep look into this. I'm looking for orphans and widows is what we call them. I'm just seeing. Okay, so it looks like you have one right here. It looks like the word is eel, but I could be wrong. It's just super tiny for me. Um, so this is called an orphan. An orphan is when you have a word or two words on a line at the end of usually the end of a paragraph, but here it's at the end of a stanza line um, that are 7 characters or less, and that includes spaces and punctuation. So to fix this, there's 2 ways to fix it. You can select the entire line of text, not just the word at the end, but the whole line that the word is a part of. And then you can adjust your tracking negatively by 5-point increments. So try -5, and if that works to what we call run back this word back up to the line above it, then you can stop there. If it doesn't, then go to -10, try -15, -20 to -25. I don't recommend going past -25 because then the words, the letters are all squished together. It's pretty hard to read. Even though they give you the option to go to like -100, I recommend -25 at the most. And then if that's not working, if you go to -25 and it doesn't run it back, then set it all back to 0 tracking. And then we're going to do a hard return instead. So you'll place your cursor in front of the last word on that line, hold down shift and hit return. And that will drop that word down to the line below it without creating a full new paragraph. Like if you were just hit return by itself, you'd get a big line space, right? Making a new paragraph. But a hard return is shift return, it just drops it down. Great. So that is an orphan. And then a widow, I don't see any of those. That's where like the last line, this one is trying to be, but it's not technically, so we're okay. But it's where either the first or last line of a paragraph is by itself um, at the top or bottom of a column or a page. So I don't see any though. It looks good. The only other thing I would recommend here, and it's not mandatory, is playing with a different color for your song titles. And looking, let me see if there's anything. You've got this kind of rosy color. That might work. That might be nice, that little blush kind of color on there, just to differentiate them a little bit more and have even more fun with the layout, or with the formatting. All right, and then just make sure that this is actually trimmed. So you're gonna slice it like this or wherever the trim line is for your final that you turn in to me, okay? Great, excellent. Let me just look at the next one. Okay, yeah, good job with the trim there. Okay, so we need on these labels, we have to have our record company logo on the label. And you have side A, side B. So everything else is good to go. Looks really good. And then notice there's a hole here, right? So on this version, you're going to punch that hole right through there and delete the center because that would be the trimmed version, right? We trim off all the excess and it's only the stuff that's going to be stuck on the product. Great. That looks good too. So we went with a CD. Perfect. All right, just swap these two around. Usually, well, I guess it doesn't matter. Never mind. It's not a bleed, so I'm sorry, it's not a spread. So I was going to say usually the front cover's on the right, back cover's on the left, but you don't need to switch these because they're not connected. Lovely. Oh, I just noticed this white square here. I didn't see that before. That's another really beautiful, beautiful detail. I love it. So many layers. Looks good. The spine looks nice too, and I like it on both sides like that. That's great. Great. All right. So do we have any here? I don't see any, but you give it another once over and see if you see any little orphans that need to be fixed. And if you do change the color of your um, track track titles in the album cover, then change it here too. Okay, great. And this looks nice, really nice. So hopefully you can. Oh, here's your Universal logo. So you have it here. Did I miss it on the other one? Do, 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 do. No, it's not on there. Okay, great. Uh, and then for the trimmed version, you're going to cut that big circle out of the middle. Okay, excellent. Great. So I'm so glad to hear that you had lots of fun working on this project and that you were able to like really push your design and illustrative skills. And I can definitely see that in all this work. Um, yeah, I was gonna say it does appear a bit emo, but it's not too emo. I definitely feel the grunge aesthetic because of all the textures that you implemented, and I think it looks so beautiful. Plus the fonts that you chose, are also pretty grungy. And then it's interesting, like reading about your color palette um, options because, like you said, like green can be associated with nature and growth, but it's also associated with like nausea, um, like mildew, you know what I mean? Like bacteria, that kind of thing. And even hospitals because of like green scrubs and stuff like that. So yeah, so I think that you chose the perfect green there because it's a little bit of all of those things. And then I like your idea of like the overgrown foliage and stuff. And I think it's all really cool. It's a really awesome concept and it really came through. So wonderful work. Thank you so much. All right. So there's Naya. Great. Well, this is a fun little mock-up. Make sure you slap that label on there, okay? So the label that you created. Great. All right. So this is inside the album cover. Okay, good. Okay. So on this one with the bleeds, you're going to rotate these two guys 180 degrees. So this picture will be on this side, but upside down. And this one will be on this side, but upside down. Okay. Don't mirror them or flip them. You've got to rotate them so that they don't end up getting to be like, the mirrored version where this text is backwards. We don't want that. And then this is the front outside album outside cover. Then you would have your spine information down here. So that's going to be your band name and the album name. You can even have a little icon from the record company's logo if you wanted to. You don't have to. And this is the back of your album. So this little paisley design turned out really cool. I really like that. Looks good. So I'm trying to figure out, let me see what it looks like when it's larger here. Okay, good. I was trying to see if these strokes were black or if they were a different color. And they are. They're purple, so that looks good. I love this texture, this like marbled texture in here. It looks really nice. And this turned out really pretty, like really great text warping. I love these S's working together and tucking the A in like that. It's awesome. It looks really good. Good job there. Okay, so you could include your track list on the back, um, and you could include your logo on the front so we know what band it is on the front of the album. And then this is, I feel like this is an opportunity for more, uh, an opportunity to show off your design skills even more. So you could insert images of the band here. It's not required. Um, but just know that you could do that. You could collage a bunch of like 60s imagery together or something, or uh, let's see, what else do you have in here? More like a flower collage or something you could do. All right, and so here's our sleeve mock-up. That's cute. I like this little negative space thing. That's really nice. That's fun. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, great. You fit them all on there. That's a nice mock-up too. Good job. That looks good. All right, so I'm just going to look at your text here. Okay. So the size of the font, you probably can't go much smaller than this. Um, um, but if you can, then that will solve some of the problems. Um, it's not really problems, that's the wrong word, but there's just a few little things that need tweaking here, okay? So you have what are called orphans. This one right here, Ning right here. Um, breathe is okay. Dream is technically an orphan. Bend and stand are orphans. So what that means is it's when you have part of a bound is technically an orphan. Okay. When you have a short little word here or two short words like it is, where including spaces and punctuation altogether, it's 7 or less characters on a line by itself. So that's why I said, where did you have it? No, I lost it. Anyway, oh, here's one. I think maybe it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so the way to fix it is to either reduce the size of your body copy, leave your headers larger, but try to knock these all down by a point. If they're already at a, I guess you could probably get away with a 9 point, but let me just look back at your mock-up real fast. So you do have a very large margin also. You could reduce this margin to a 1/2 point all the way around. I'm sorry, a 1/2 point and a 1/2 inch all the way around, but it does look nice. I like a big thick margin, but um, if you need more space, then you could do that anyway, regardless. Um, so there's two ways to fix it. There's three ways. Like I said, reduce the size of the font, number one. Number two, if that doesn't work and you can't make it smaller, then you're going to select, this actually looks like it's 3 lines that are all supposed to be in the same thing. So highlight it all in, with your cursor, like in InDesign, and then go to your tracking and adjust it negative by 5 increments, 5 points, 5 point increments. So try -5, and then what we're hoping to happen is that the word here runs back and joins, it's called a run back, it joins the line up above it of text. If -5 doesn't work, then try -10, then -15, then -20, up to -25. If -25 still doesn't work, then set it all back to 0. And from there, the next option, the third option, would be to place your cursor right before the last word on the line above the orphan, and then do a hard return, which is where you hold down the shift button and hit return. And that's going to drop that word down, force it to be on the line below it without creating a full new paragraph where you have an extra paragraph space. Okay, great. Then I think this font is really nice. You have room to play with your headers. It looks like you have room to make them a little bigger. A couple of them might wrap to be 2 lines of text, but that's fine. But they definitely need to be at least 2 sizes bigger. They need to appear larger than your body copy. Right now, they don't appear larger. They're bold, which is great. You can leave them bold. And then also, you have all these amazing colors to play with. Throw that color in there. Like, you don't have to. It can definitely be black and white, like that would save on the cost of printing that, but so it's totally up to you. You could also change your body copy font to be one of these colors as long as it's nice and legible at that scale, because it is tiny, tiny. Great. So here are the labels trimmed with bleed. Okay, so on the bleed, it's going to show you that the bleed is the outside blue line. And then this black line here is our trim line. So that's where your label is going to be trimmed. So you'll have about a 1/2 inch of space. And then this pink circle right here is where it's going to be cut, these 2 pink circles, that's going to be also cut out. So on the trimmed version, you would get rid of this excess bleed area. So you're going to redo these labels so that you don't have a full half inch of space. You've got about a quarter inch between the trim line and this text here. And then you would also cut this circle out and delete it so that it's just the label itself that's going to be stuck on the record. All the excess is trimmed. Got it? Okay. So as far as the design goes, I love this Stardust Records logo. So I'm happy that you have the logo made. You just got to stick it on the back of your album. And then side A, this looks good. You could adjust your spacing here in this font style, this numbered list, so that you don't have such a huge gap between the number one, or I'm sorry, the numbers and the words. And then if you you don't have to do that, but if you do, then make sure you do it over on this side too. Looks like we're missing a song. We're supposed to have 12 songs. And uh, on side B, number these 7 through 12 instead of 1 through 5 or 6. Okay, wonderful. Everything looks good. I like this fine print around the edge too. Cute. This looks great. All right. Got that. Looking good. Oh, okay. So on this one, all right. So on the cassette tape, it's also two sides like an album cover. So we need a side A and a side B, and you can list the tracks. So you may need to move your logos around, you know. And but I'm happy to see, this information on there. This is so tiny. So I do recommend making that bigger. If you have a secondary logo that's horizontal or something, you could also use that if you want to, not required. Um, and so, yeah, so there's a side A and a side B, and then we have a case, and the case has all the artwork that's similar to the album cover artwork. Then also on the inside of the case, you fold open the paper and it has all the lyrics listed on the panels. All right, so just make sure you show all that in your final presentation, okay? Since it's missing from here. Excellent. So I really think your pattern turned out cool too. I'm glad that you had a lot of fun designing that. And it's nice because you can use it, you were able to use it in so many ways, throughout all of the artwork and the design. So that's fantastic. Don't be afraid to use AI to create a mock-up that you need, you know what I mean? And just make sure that you specify what the dimensions need to be. If you're anti-AI, I get it. You don't, no pressure, you know what I mean? But like you could get a free generation that has like a unique background specific to like your genre if you wanted to do something like that. So I just, I want you to feel like you can use AI to help you save time on tedious things and not, have it take away from your creative um, process and your creative abilities. Uh, and so that I think would be a good application of that. Um, so yeah, okay, great. But yeah, overall, I think it turned out really nice. And if you decide to use this reflection on your website, like if you make this project a case study, um, just know that this says complaint instead of compliment. So just a heads up there. Oh, thanks so much, Naya. All right, next up is Ezel. Beautiful. Ooh, that eye is so creepy peeking out. I love it. It's so gross. Excellent. Okay. All right. So on this one, this right panel is actually the front of the cover. And then this left panel is going to be the back of the cover. Just like when you're laying out like a book cover, it's the same thing as this. It's going to open up from right to left. So that means front cover here, back cover on this side. The spine looks really good. The artwork, fantastic. I love it very, very much. I think it's great. I mean, I love this font. It's beautiful. All of this texture is so fantastic. the overlay like over the bunny is really nice. It's gorgeous. And then this one is a little strange. I don't know if it's just me or if this was intent. I think it may be intentional. It's like pixelated. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I love these fonts together too. And I like the left align and the right align, nice and balanced, and this is really pretty. This is nice too. So just a heads up, your trim line is this line here, this red solid line. And so you have like no margin. Let me just cut it down here to show you. So the the cover, the front is good. The back, that barcode and that small text at the bottom, they need to be pulled away from the edge a bit. That margin is like non-existent. So the printer will yell at you. You got to have like about a quarter of an inch margin there, okay? Because they're going to be afraid they're going to slice it. So the trimmed version, this is not actually the trimmed version. You saw where I just where the trim line is, that's actually going to be what this should look like cut on those spots, okay? Great. This looks good. It turned out so good. I love it. Great. I love it. Oh, this is fun. Oh my God, I'm loving this very much. Good. Okay, so here's our trim line is the red line, and then this green line is the margin. So as long as that text on the front cover is within that green dotted line area, that's only like an, well, I don't know, it's hard to tell because this is a large object, right? 12 inches by 12 inches is pretty big. It's one of the bigger things that we're designing, like a poster. So that could be about a quarter of an inch. It just looks small on the screen. So here's what I love about this. Besides the all of the motion of the bunnies running for their lives, I love that you changed the signs of a psychopath to like this blue color. I think that looks really cool. And then how you have the titles of your songs like just like so big in a wonderful font that is different from your body copy. I think it looks great. I love the contrast of the font sizes. Looks awesome. So I'm just looking here at some things. Okay, so I'll start with this. So it appears that this heading got shifted to the right just a smidge, like there's like a half of an extra space there. So fix that. And then same with this one, this rabbit's foot is shifted to the left a bit. Okay, so I think that you added the headers as like a separate thing. Uh, so watch out for that. And then here, notice our spacing between the first line of text in the first stanza versus the title. So this spacing is not consistent everywhere. Oh, so fix that. Make them exactly the same everywhere. And then make the same spacing after the last line of the song and above the next title. Okay. So you don't see that in too many places, but where you do, make them all the same. Okay. All right. So there's that. The next thing, you have some orphans. Orphans are when you have a word that is supposed to be with the line above it, basically. Um, Actually, technically, orphans are like the last word of a paragraph when it's by itself down on a line, um, the line below. And it can even be two words that are like short words like this. Doo -doo. So where the letters, including spaces and punctuation, are 7 characters or less. So some of these, like aha or yeah, that is intentional and that's okay to be by itself, right? This one right here, thieved, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll let that one slide. It is 7 characters, but it's okay. Um, so run into me. I don't know if to me is supposed to be on a line by itself, like if they say it in like a separate, you know, part of the song kind of thing, like it's very broken and that's intentional. If it's not, then place your cursor. There's two ways to fix this, okay? You can place your cursor in front of the last word on the line above it and do a hard return, which is where you hold down the shift button and hit return or enter, and it forces that word to jump down and be with the words below it instead of making a new paragraph with like a big space, right? Or you can select the whole line, including the orphan, from the from the beginning of the line above it to the end of the orphan with your cursor, and then go over to your tracking and reduce the tracking by negative increments of 5 points. So you go to -5, and then what you're hoping to happen is that these words will run back, is what it's called, um, up to the line above it. So you're creating a run back. If -5 doesn't work, then try -10, -15, -20. If any of those work, then just stop there. But don't go past, like you can go to -25, but I don't recommend going past -25. If I'm in a pinch, I will go to -30, but that's absolutely it. So -25 is my recommendation of the most you should go because the letters start getting so squished together that it's very hard to read that line of text. So if you go to -25 and it doesn't work, then switch it all back to 0 tracking and then place your cursor in front of the last word, do a hard return. So you're going to look for those. I saw them, like, don't worry about tonight. You know, that's all um, intentional. But right here, see what that word says, going to something. That one, I think you could just drop 2 down next to it. Um, this one will, I think this one will probably work if you do the negative tracking. Same with go, that'll probably work for negative tracking. We have hard, I would just drop so down with hard. We have these ones here. I think you should drop much down and so, down. So just look through these and see what you can find and fix those orphans, okay? I would fix the orphans first. You've got a bunch here, but they might be intentional. I'm not sure. I don't think they are. Fix the orphans first. That's going to give you more room for your um, spacing of your titles here. The other thing that you can do with these titles is notice like you've got a large space on these two that wrap. So you could adjust the line spacing there so that they're little hug a little tighter, and that'll help you out. Okay. And honestly, like I was gonna say, like, don't be afraid to like let a little rabbit foot cover some of the text. Kind of cute. Okay, keep going. All right, great. Burp, burp, burp. Oh, fun. That's fun. What is this? Oh, I don't know what I'm looking at. Hold on. Oh, okay, so the vinyl is gonna have rabbits running on the vinyl. Cool. Okay. And then these are gnarly labels. Blah, so bloodshot. Okay. Cool. All right. All right. Yeah. Great. Great labels there. I mean, logos. Really good. Blah. Okay. All right. So, um, I'm so grossed out with the thing in the middle now, too. Yikes. Okay. Really good. Ugh. All right. So again, here, the front cover is going to be on the right and the back cover design is going to be on the left. So just swap-a-roo there. But yeah, I think it's working. I mean, I'm not really sure like why you went with one column on this one instead of the two left and right. I think that was working fine, but I understand. Maybe you just wanted to switch it up a bit. The spine looks good too, and just double check that margin, with the trim area. Whatever you change on the album, sorry, whatever you change on the, yeah, on the lyric sheet on the album cover, change here too. Go through and check out all those, fix all those orphans as well. Good, good. I think that's okay. So the CD cover, the CD hole is going to be bigger than the record hole. So for both of those, um, make sure you punch the hole out, like create, use your elliptical tool and make a selection and then hit delete so that it actually goes away so that you're only showing the trimmed area. Notice on this one, the trimmed area is this red line. So the blue dotted line is your bleed. Okay, great. Well, I think it turned out great. And I think having too many variations is a good problem to have because that's awesome that you were like so inspired. You just kept, making all these different fun things to choose from. So it turned out awesome. I don't think it's too simple. I think it's perfectly edited. Um, th- like your use of negative space is really effective here, and I think it's wonderful. So don't sweat that at all, please. I couldn't even tell that you had to Photoshop the bunnies. I thought they were all white, so that was good Photoshopping. So even though it was hard, it was worth it. It turned out great. So I love everything about it. Thank you. All right, next up is Imani. Awesome. 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 Very nice. Great. This looks great. Good job. This background texture is really nice. All right. Oh, yeah, that's a nice mock-up. Okay, I was looking for the trimmed version. Hold on. Okay, see the trimmed version there. So we'll just talk about this one. All right. This illustration is so cool. I love this perspective and the way that you drew it, like the line quality and stuff. I mean, it's so cool. Like it does feel like it is from the 70s. I love the color palette. It's so good. The texture for the hair is really cool. That was a really neat brush that you used there. I love like these brushes in here for the highlights. That's lovely. Like, sorry, I keep saying like. My mind is blown. It looks so good. These shines are a really nice little addition there. Really cool. So cool. I love this microphone coming through, the chord and the guitar. Like all of these composition choices are really nice. The white, slicing through here and there is really awesome. Really good. Very cool. The overlaying, like overlapping of the logo is really wonderful. Like you didn't try to shrink this down to fit everything in little boxes. I think is wonderful. This curving along with that design is just so good. So good. I love it. I love it. And then because it's concrete groove, you've got like, you know, little textures of concrete everywhere, which is wonderful. This looks really good on the back too. The layout looks really nice. Um, I wonder if you would consider maybe left aligning this and right aligning it. Not necessary, but um, I just see if you like it. You know what I mean? The other thing is, if you please add the record company logo to the back. Excellent. So the spine looks good. Yeah, looks great. And here's our inside. Fun. So 70s funk. I love it. It's really good. Like not just the image, not just, what you chose to draw, but the whole style of it is really nice. Really good. All right. So here is our sheet. I'm just looking to see where the crop is. Good. You did a good job there. All right. So we just have one side. I love this little border that you created here, and the background texture is also beautiful. Great font pairing. I really like that. Looks good. So there's a few things that we could do to kind of show off your formatting chops. whether if you knew you had them or not yet. This is going to make it look like you do. So number one, I recommend not letting this be hyphenated. So do a hard return here. That's where you place your cursor before the word and hold down shift and then hit enter or return. It's going to drop it down to the line below. And same with street lights. I think you should drop street lights down. And then with these, I want you to make the words that wrapped move over so that the first letter of that word that wrapped aligns under the first letter of the line above it. So it doesn't align under the number, it aligns under that first letter there, okay? So there will be a space here between those two. So same with on number 2 and number 5. Then consider changing the color of your fonts for the headers. You have that outline there. You've got all of these awesome colors to choose from. I'm voting for one of the purples, but that's just me because you already have the red and blue, or it could be red and it could be awesome. So either way, but you don't have to do that. You can leave it black. Then the other thing is you have a lot of orphans, and there's 3 ways to fix those. So an orphan is when you have one little short word by itself or 2 small words like this by themselves on a line at the end of a stanza line or at the end of a paragraph that are 7 characters or less. So including spaces and punctuation, if it's 7 characters or less, it's considered an orphan. I would let this slide though, and wide. I'm sorry, I would let the air, I would let that slide. So you don't need to fix that one, but all these other ones like blends, sway, way, night, lights, I would let slide. I don't know, maybe not. No, it's only 6. Sound, found, low, rain, lane, sign, drum. So see, they're like sprinkled kind of on in every single song. So one way that you could fix this is to select that text or change the style of this text so that it is 1 or 2 points smaller than it currently is. That's going to eliminate a lot of them. If your text is already pretty small, like I wouldn't go lower than 9 points, then the next thing to do is to select the line of text from the first word in the line all the way down to the last, the end of the orphan, right? So this whole defunct map shows you the way with your cursor, and then go over to your tracking setting in your characters panel and reduce your tracking by -5 point increments at a time. So first try -5, and if that, what we're hoping to do is make the word run back up to the line above it. It's called a run back. If -5 doesn't work, then try -10, then -15, -20. Whichever one works, just stop there. -25 is what I recommend is the farthest you should go. If -25 doesn't work, then reset it all to 0 points, the tracking, and then place your cursor in front of the last line, I'm sorry, the last word on the line above the orphan, and then do a hard return. So shift return to force that word down to the line below it, okay? So the forcing the word down is the last option. We really want to try to do the negative kerning or negative tracking to get it to run back. Okay, great. Excellent. Looking good. Okay, great. All right, and this looks good. So we just need on here, everything is good. We just need a Funkline Records logo. Okay, so you'll throw that on there and on the back cover. Ooh, that looks nice. Nice mock-ups you found. Yay, this is a fun mock-up. Love that you got a little sticker on there. Okay, cute. This style is really fun with these lines like that. You better stop. I'm dying. Okay, hold on. Oh, why does this have this line here? Wonder what happened. I mean, I like the texture. It just seems like it's already in plastic wrap. Great. Okay. Okay. So, um, once again, another fantastic illustration. Really nice. Um, Turn on the streetlights is the song. Great. Okay. So what I recommend, I think, let me just go back to your original artwork real fast. Oh, that's this one. Okay, it's that. Let me go back. Beep, boop. Would you consider maybe like using one of these buildings? I'm not sure how large your um, illustration is, the original there, but instead of repeating these two buildings, maybe just having that one large one or a zoomed in version of that inside panel here. You know what I mean? Um, yeah, I really think you should do that because you have a lot of cool illustrations to choose from, and we don't need to duplicate it on the same artwork. You know what I mean? On the same product. All right, great. Yeah, lovely. I love it. I love her. I love these music notes. I love it. Good. All right. So I don't see any orphans here, but for chorus, you may want to like, I don't know, italicize it or put it in parentheses or something. Just treat it a little bit differently so it doesn't look like it's the words in the song. And then I don't recommend ever centering it. I mean, it's a rule, actually, not my rule, but it's a graphic designer's formatting rule that you do not ever center anything longer than 4 lines of text. So these should all maybe be either left aligned, right aligned, not justified because it's a stanza. Okay, great. Cute. I like that you incorporated those little music notes up there too. And then once again, once you get your Funkline Records logo in there, this is good to go. And I like that you put the time on there. That's fantastic. Yes, good job on this. That looks great. Woo! So many good mock-ups. So this is so good. Like this is really, really what I'm looking for with these projects is like I could hold this record up to like a Parliament record, and I would think that this your record that you made was actually from the 70s. And that's what I want everybody to be striving for is to make it look so authentic that somebody would not be able to tell that it's not from that genre. You know what I mean? And so I'm so happy that you decided to go this route. What I love about your illustration is that you're still showing like your band members too, without, having to use photography or anything like that. And it just really, the whole style of it feels authentic from the genre. Like I said, like the line quality and brushes that you used, um, all the textures, the color palette, the style of that like deep perspective is way fun. There's so much like action and motion in there. It's just awesome. So you did a wonderful job. I really love it. Thank you. Next up is Angelina. All right. Oh, it turned out great. Oh, I love it. Really nice. It turned out great. Really good. Really good collaging. God, it's awesome. You made some really cool choices here. Like I love the negatives, and then the film strip is really beautiful. All of this layering is so nice. This texture is just gorgeous. The gradients are really pretty. The grain added in the gradients are nice. All the little scratchies and dust is just awesome. And then I like how you lined up this, like rotated the text to line up here. This font pairing is really beautiful. And this center glow just, it looks awesome. It's really cool. I like how all of these look backlit too from sort of this like light source behind it. But this one is almost like these little feet are the light source, and you can see it. Sorry, go away. Get out of here. You can see it like glowing, on the jacket. It's really cool. That's good stuff. And then this one, I love this radial texture that you added. That's fun. That's like a texture that you can't really use very often, because it's hard to find an application for it, and you found the perfect one. So that's really nice. And then repeating the film strip here with all these scratchies and dust is just great. It's like telling a little story, and I really like that. I love seeing all this film info up here and down here. Ooh, I love it. Looks good. Looks really good. This is also really nice how you framed out these pages with the film strips. That looks so good. And I see some, graininess up here. Looking real nice. Real nice. Good. These gradients are beautiful. They're not muddy, they're lovely. That's nice. So what I really like here is how your song titles are humongous, and I appreciate that. And they're not too huge, don't get me wrong. They're perfect. But I just like that they're a lot bigger than your body text. And then if you let me look at your cover again, sorry. Okay. I was going to say if you wanted to, you could maybe invert them to white, like the text on your cover. Not required, obviously, and there might be some spots where it gets a little hard to read because the gradient behind it is light also. There's not enough contrast, but I like to encourage people to add color to their headers because why not? You know what I mean? All right. Then the other thing is we do have some orphans, and these are orphans right here when you have little words by themselves or even two words that are short, that with including spacing and punctuation, it's 7 characters or less. So usually they're at the end of a paragraph, but these count because they're like stanza lines in a way. So there's a few ways to fix it. Number one is make your font smaller. I don't think you should go any smaller than this. It's good to go. So the next one is uh, number two. You're going to select, this will totally work on this little paragraph right here. Select the whole line or paragraph with your cursor, and then go over to your characters panel and change your tracking by go in -5 point increments. So first choose -5, and what you're hoping to happen is this little orphan is going to run back, we call it a run back, to the line above it. And if that doesn't work, -5, then try -10, and then -15, -20, and then at -25 at the most. That's the farthest I recommend going. Okay. So if -25 doesn't work to run back the line, then change all your tracking back to 0 for that selection. And then the third option is to place your cursor in front of the last word in the line above the orphan and do a hard return, which is where you hold down shift and hit return, and then it'll force that word to join the orphan on the line below. Okay, so there's some of these that um, looking at them, I can tell that well, that's not an orphan. Some of them you can tell that it's not going to run back, you know what I mean? And so if that's the case, just instantly just place your cursor in front of it and do the force return. Like break free. I don't know. Some of these, when you have a bunch of lines like this, there probably is room for the run back for the negative, increments. But let's see if there's one that I can see is like definitely not going to happen. Maybe this one here. Oh, but then wandering. So in this case, I would do a hard return at rewind and force that to go down, and then that will force wandering to go down on its own. Because if you were to put a hard return here, we also don't really want this first line of the paragraph to extend that far over the second line. Like that's also looks a little weird. So go through these and just see where you've got little orphans and just fix them with those two options there. Everything else looks great. Really good. Okay, next. Oh yeah, trimmed up. Okay, so then on this, it is perfect. Great, great. Looks good. Looks good. Really good. I love the times of each song. I'm happy to see DGC records. I love the fine print. I love everything going around the edge. And you trimmed it correctly, and you have the hole in the middle. Thank you. I appreciate that very much. And you made a tape. Great. Oh, it looks great. Really good. Seeing this texture on here with the light text on the dark background, it looks even more grungy. I love it. Really good. Excellent. Yeah, this is really good. Good work. Really good. So just look for your, see, you got yellow here. Thank you. I like that. Um, look for your orphans and see if you can fix them. This one might be a little bit harder. Like you have some at the top here, but if you fix a few of the orphans, like this one, that'll automatically drop that one down, you know. Looks good. Good job. Really nice. Really nice. Oops, sorry. Okay, perfect. Perfect. This looks rad. I love it. Great work. Way to go. Really good. Really good. Perfect. So I'm glad that you enjoyed creating all of this and playing with the color palette and all the textures and stuff. I have to go back and look at your star visuals because I didn't read them as stars. I know it's called Star Cry. I read it as dust on film because I was a photographer for so long that worked in, a darkroom. But I see it now, and I think it's okay that I didn't read it. I mean, like I read this as the sun, which is like a giant star. You know what I mean? Especially with that glow like coming out of the middle. So I just wanted you to know like how I interpreted it, um, in case you were wondering. Okay, excellent work. Thank you so much. All right, next up is Sit Lolly. Hey, can you do me a favor and please make sure that you upload a PDF and not the PowerPoint for me? Thank you. All right, so here's our album mock-up. Looks good, looking good. Good mock-up. Oh, that's a nice mock-up too. Great. I love that you're able to get the lyric sheet in there. Great. Okay, so, oh, this is fun. So I love the the spread that it's, going across the whole front to the back and across the spine. The spine, I'm happy to see stuff in there. You need to rotate it 180 degrees. So we read the spine from top down and not from down up. So just grab it all and rotate it 180. Don't flip it or mirror it, or because that'll reverse the text on us. You know what I mean? Great. And then the back is really fun. I don't feel like the text needs to be that big, but I think it's fine. And I like seeing Def Jam on there. Cute. Like I would almost rather see this logo bigger, you know what I mean? And then like the title below it or something. And I'm wondering if you have a version of the logo that's, you do, I have seen it, that's not just black and white, if you were to put it up here. Not not required. You can leave it exactly as it is because it's still working as is, okay? Great. All right, so for the trimmed version, you're going to, let me go back to this one. All right, I don't see any of the lines here on this, like I don't see the template lines, but basically it's going to look like this. You're going to slice it like so, wherever the trim line is, something like that. So just make sure that this is not too close to the trim line. You need to have a little bit of a margin between the name of the album, I'm sorry, between the name of the band and the edge of the album there, okay? So you'll see on your template where the trim line is and, cut it that way. Excellent. Then you just use your rectangular marquee tool and then delete everything on the outside. So right here, this is your trim line, this red line here, and the outside is your bleed line. I'm trying to grab it. I can't do it with this. Something like that. Anyway, so you'll just draw your marquee like that. and select it, or do a inverse selection and hit delete, whatever you want to do. All right, so this is our inside cover. Great. Very fun. Very cute font. I love this color palette and all these swirlies that you made. Looks really nice. Let me go back to the front. Same within here. This is really beautiful. Um, so this part is, I know that it's earth, but I'm wondering, like, if you were to get rid of the green to kind of narrow down this color palette a little bit. So you had it like blue and this orangey color. I don't know, is that weird? Let's see. Let's see what else we've got throughout this, okay? Hold on, one more. I'm also, never mind, let's keep going. Okay, beep. Great. And so here's our lyrics. Okay. All right. So same with this one, the lyrics is going to be sliced and you're going to chop off the bleeds and those flaps. Okay. All right. Let me look at this. I'm going to look at this one because it's a little more crisp. And I'm going to zoom in because I got to see. So with this, I mean, this text is itty bitty. Um, like I have it zoomed in on my screen. It's about 12 by 12 on my screen, and I can still barely read this text. So what I would recommend for you is to split this so that you have 6 songs on this panel and 6 songs on this panel, and eliminate this artwork, because then that'll allow you to have larger fonts. And then to bring color back into this, feel free to, you can make your headers even larger, and then, like they are on the back of the album, and then add color to those titles, change the font color. And let me just look at a few more things here. Okay, so you have a few orphans. Orphans are when you have a word by itself on a line like this that's not intentional. It's usually at the end of a paragraph or at the end of one of these stanza lines. And so to fix that, since we can't go smaller with our text, well, if you spread this out and you increase your text size, do that first, because it's going to affect if these orphans even exist or not. Then once you're done with your sizing and everything, because you're probably only going to have 3 columns on each page, 3 to 4. And so that's going to widen the area, and it will fix a lot of these little orphans. So do that first. Then after that, if you still have 1 or 2, select the line that orphan belongs to, the whole line there, and with your cursor. And then in your characters panel, you're going to go to your tracking settings, and you're going to do negative tracking by 5-point increments. So select -5 first. And then what we're hoping to happen is that this word runs back and joins the line above it. That's called a run back. So if -5 doesn't work, then go to -10, then try -15, -20, and then at -25, that's the farthest I recommend going. So if -25 still didn't work, what you're going to do instead is set it all back to 0 tracking for that line, and then place your cursor at the beginning of the last word on that line, and then just do a hard return, which is where you hold down shift and hit return, and it knocks it down to the line below it, so it's no longer by itself. Okay. Okay. So then on this one, all right. So this is this blue line on the outside is the bleed. So you want this swirly to come all the way out here to the blue line. You don't have to redo this because on the final that you turn in, you don't show me anything with bleeds. You're only going to show me the trimmed versions. But I just want you to know for the future, all of the background graphics go all the way out to the bleed so that when you submit it to a printer, they don't send it back to you. Then this black line here is your trim line. So that's where you're going to cut it. And then there's also another line on the inside sometimes of templates, and that's the margin line. So that just means don't let your text fall into that that's too close to the trim line, okay? Great. Okay, so I see that you made like a little guide for yourself there. Good. This looks good. Really great. Perfect. I love it. Really nice. All right. So then you made a CD. All right. That looks good. Yeah, see how you have so much more room for your lyrics on there with those 2 pages? I think that's almost exactly what your record album is going to look like too. So I like that a lot. So if you do make any changes to the artwork on the album cover, make the same changes to the artwork here on your CD. Looks good. Okay, great. Good. And your spine, same thing, just rotate that 180 degrees. Good, good. That's fun. And if you do change like your font header colors on the album, then do it here too, but it's not required by any means. Okay, great. Okay, great. So what I want to talk about is your color palette. Thanks for showing me this. It looks great. So your color palette, we've got black with yellow, blue, and pink, right? And then here we've got this orange color too, which is working. It's a lovely color mixed with the rest of the palette. But now all of a sudden we're introducing a green and a silver. So I don't know if you would consider eliminating the green and maybe placing in the orange instead. And then instead of the silver, having it be like the black that's in your logo. Um, Even though like there's no black anywhere else, I think it'll be okay. I like the blue highlights and the white window with the black. I think that'll be all right. If you do put your updated logo over here, bigger, in color, then that black will bounce off. You know what I mean? It'll make the rocket more of a focal point. It is sort of becoming a focal point because our eye follows this line. And like our information hierarchy is good because we have the white as contrast, creating contrast, and plus it's the largest text on the panel. But then our eye will go to the arrow, will go to the rocket because that will be the next most contrasty thing at the next scale, and then our eye will follow this around to the back of the album to the planet. So just consider something to consider. Because I noticed you didn't have green anywhere else, and that's why I'm like green and gray, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I think it would be nice. It's totally up to you. Great. So um, I'm so glad that you felt like this was more artistically based. I mean, I can really see it because you did like all illustrations. And I'm also happy that you were able to solve the problem of readability of your text on this swirly background by just adding super thick strokes because it totally uh, is perfect for your genre, that whole um, solution. So I think I mean, I thought it was completely intentional. Like it looked like that was your plan from the start. So way to go, way to go. I love it. I think it's very fun. And yeah, it turned out great. Thank you so much, everybody. This was awesome. I love everything.